Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing living off post versus on post. This is not going to be a video about any horror stories that I may have experienced or my neighbors or anything like that. I think if you've been here before, you know me well enough that I'm going to give you informative things so that you can make a personal choice. I don't do negativity, and I'm not going to tell you every bad thing that's ever happened to me because, I mean, we're adults. It's not really necessary to discuss that. I'm sure we can all handle those type of things accordingly. So nonetheless, I am going to get into certain things that may affect your decision whether to live on post or off post. Now, as you know, BAH varies depending on the area that you live and your rank. So living on post or off post is not a blanket decision. Someone may choose to live off post if you're stationed somewhere like Louisiana, and you might get a really awesome deal for your BAH. Whereas if you live in a place like Washington, you may very well not. And also depending on, houses are bigger in the South versus, in areas where it's more populated. So that might be something that you could do in Fort Hood that you're not going to be able to do, here at JBLM. So those are some things that you might want to consider. Another thing that affects people's decision to live on base or off base when it comes to financial decisions is whether they have a spouse that works or not. And also your rank, because when you're junior enlisted, most of the time it'd probably be a really good idea to stay on base because, the amount of rent that you would have off post, even though it may come with maybe the same amount of space, I have found when you live on post, you get a little bit more yard space than you would if you were renting for the same amount. And I'm speaking for like junior enlisted when, the money's a little bit smaller. Now, when you're an NCO or when you're a senior NCO or an officer, I would think that living off post may be a choice, and that also depends on whether you have a huge family or not. So even if you are senior enlisted, if you got like 5 kids, it may not be, a financial good idea to live off base. So that's just my viewpoint from, different ranks, family size, and depending on where you're stationed. Also, when you live overseas, usually, living on the economy is not a bad idea because you do receive COLA. But I've never done that with the family. When I was stationed overseas, I was a single soldier. So that's another factor in there that you would have to think about. Something else I wanted to discuss about living on post versus off post is personal choices. Now, there are some people that really don't want to live where they work. They want a huge separation, and I completely understand that. So living on post definitely would not be a choice for them at all. Now, there are some people that really love the sense of community that they get when they live on post, so they make a choice to stay. I know for my family that we don't really have I don't think we've ever had challenges separating work from personal life. We always did whatever's financially best. So we've, always done whatever base we went to, whatever, got us the best deal. When I was in Virginia, we lived off post. Now that I'm here in Washington and things cost more, we live on post. So, that's just the choices that we made. As far as living on base, there's some things that you may need to know. For, not all families do, but my family, we own guns. So when you live on base, your guns must be registered with the post. And it doesn't matter, like I have my own gun and it still has to be registered, and it has to be registered under, the soldier, of course. So our weapons have to be registered here on base. And it's not just, when you buy a gun, it's under your name. But when you get on base, it has to be under the soldier's name. And every single time you buy a new weapon, you have to go down to the Provost Marshal's office and you have to register your gun. Now, of course, when you live off post, you don't have to do anything like that. You don't have to go through any paperwork. You know, you buy it, you know, according to the state laws, and then you just store it properly in your own home. Another thing about living on post versus living off post is some people don't really care for, I guess, the rules that you have in on post housing. It's similar to like if you were in like, you know, like a condo type of community where you have to keep your grass cut a certain amount, and you know they complain about certain things on the lawns and stuff like that. So here on the post that I live on, they have landscaping, and you are allowed to you know, take care of your own yard if you choose to, but you don't have to. Now, the fact that we have a fenced in backyard, that's our own responsibility, and we can let it grow as high as we want and cut it as often as we want, and that's not regulated. But things that are regulated are like cars on your front lawn when you live on post. That's not allowed. And a certain amount of storage. Like if you have a bunch of stuff up and down the side of your house, let's say like let's say if you have like, you know, car seats, old car seats, or you have like a stroller out there, or you have like a moped or something of that nature, you can't collect things on the side of your home. And off there in your fenced in backyard, that's fine. But things like in the front yard, anything that's like an eyesore, you can get in trouble for when you live on post. And if you live off post, you know, it's your home, it's your business, you pay rent, you do as you please. Another thing about living on post versus living off post is that a lot of times people feel a bit restricted because you see these people, you see them at work, you see them at the grocery store, at the commissary. So a lot of times, probably some unsavory things that may be going on in your home, or you don't want people to know certain habits. They see that because, you know, they're your neighbors, you know. So it is a little bit more restricting, you know, like you can't play your music as loud, you know, and you can't be, you know, maybe you might want to say something rude to your neighbor, but you can't, you know, because these are people that your spouse or even you work with. So you have to use a little bit more restraint when you live on post, and everyone knows you, you know, so that is something that people aren't always comfortable with. There's another thing about living on base that I have, I want to say come to rely on, but I do find comfort in the safety of being on post. Now, that's not to say that there are no crazy people here, or there's not any, or everyone's perfect, because that's not true. It's not Pleasantville. There are challenges that, you know, that go with living in any community, but I have a sense of safety that I don't have when I live off post, because I'm living in a place that has, you know, 6-foot cement fences, and it's guarded by, you know, men with M16. So I feel a little bit more comfortable letting my kids run around and then walking to school, and, you know, walking my dog at 9 o'clock at night. You know, I'm not going to say that an Amazon package has not been snatched from a porch here or there, but if that's the, most crime that I ever experienced in a neighborhood, I would definitely count myself lucky. Okay, and another thing that I feel that is some people find really great about living on post is that they don't have to commute. Like going to your job is a hop, a skip, and a jump. So you're not burning gas. Going to the doctor's office, depending on what type of insurance you have, you know, if you're going to the clinic on post, it's a hop, a skip, and a jump. Like you're not driving far. Your children, you know, go to school on post. You know, they can walk, or you can drive them within, you know, like I said, 5 minutes. So that's another comfort that people have, is that like all their needs can definitely be met by just driving within, you know, a 10-minute radius. So that concludes the information that I wanted to give you all about living on post versus living off post. Now, as far as personal experiences, I know some people have gotten some experiences that were not good, or maybe they've lived on a post where, you know, the maintenance wasn't up to par. But this is just information that you can use to make an educated choice depending on your family size, your rank, and your personal preferences. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions or anything that I left out, I would definitely welcome them. And you all have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.